Okay, so let's talk about how to solve this. If I say, let's say I say the black arrow and the red arrow are the only ones interacting. So if that's the case, I think I want to save this. I don't want to lose it. Vector, oops, vector example. Okay, so if I give you this diagram and the question says, if the black arrow and the red arrow are the only ones that interact, then that means we can ignore these. So I'm just going to get rid of them. And what we want to do is think of these angled vectors as their x and y components. And it's actually quite simple. Let's draw with black for the black vector. And we'll start our segment here. And I guess if I wanted to be neat, I would assign an arrowhead to it. I don't like them to be that big, but 50% seems to be better. And let's see, what about in the style? Profile, uniform? No. I guess I would like to give it some kind of a dotted line appearance, but I don't know if I'll be able to do that. No, I don't think so. But anyways, so that, if the sun was shining down on this angled vector, it would leave a shadow that looked like that. Likewise, it would, if the sun was setting, it would leave a shadow on the wall like this. And let me see, I'll give it an arrowhead. Way too big. I wish it would save my preferences, but probably does. I just don't know how to. So now that this arrow is represented by these two, we can get rid of it. So we've basically broken that angled vector into its x and y components. So let's do the same thing for the red arrow. We'll draw. If the sun was shining down underneath and it cast its shadow on the floor, it would look like that. And we give it an arrowhead. Whoops, I need to switch ends. And I need to tell it to be 50%. Such a hassle. Wish I knew how to set up the defaults. And then for the Y component, if the sun was shining from over here, it would leave a mark on the wall that was like this. Now let's give it an arrowhead. I apologize that this is so slow watching me change the arrowhead properties and whatnot, but if you pay attention, you'll get this once and for all and not have any trouble with it anymore. So now this angled vector is represented by the two other components, the x and the y. So thankfully, or I should say before I say that, now that everything's broken up, all the angled stuff is broken up into either vertical or horizontal, we can proceed to cancel out or join forces if they're going the same direction. It looks to me like this arrow and that arrow are perfect opposites, so they cancel each other out. Let's get rid of them. And then this one, if you think about it, this one's going to take away that much of this arrow. It's going to shrink it. Let me scoot it down here, and then I think I'll just resize this one, because that takes away that much of the power of that, and that means this is gone now, because once we shrink this arrow, we've dealt with it, and we can get rid of, we've basically gotten rid of that much of that arrow, and we got rid of the red arrow. So the result of those, all those forces, I think it was 3 forces we started out with, or was it just 2, is just this arrow right here of the magnitude of 4 squares or whatever you want to call it. So there it is. Quite simple.